From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, January 20th, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,093 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $380. Antiwar.com reports continuing what started as the 2015 spring offensive. The Taliban is continuing to move heavily into Helmand province and is poised to capture the Sanjan, Marja, and Gereshk districts of the province, which would effectively surround the capital city of Lashkar Gah. The Taliban last month made an effort to capture the Sanjan district, briefly seizing it but ceding parts of it back when reinforcements arrived. Afghan troops are scrambling to the area again in hopes of trying to hold off a much bigger loss this time. Helmand province is the center of Afghan opium production and hugely lucrative for the Taliban to control. They fought heavily over the years for the province and seem to be on the verge of retaking the area from the Afghan security forces. In addition to the valuable districts themselves, control over the area would give the Taliban control over the main highway between Herat and Kandahar, giving them yet more control over the entire southwestern portion of Afghanistan.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court refused on Tuesday to hear the latest challenge to the Affordable Care Act, backing away from a conservative assertion that Congress violated the Constitution in approving the law in 2010. The long-shot lawsuit said the Affordable Care Act, known as Obamacare, violated the origination clause of the U.S. Constitution, which says bills that raise revenue must originate in the House. Conservatives argue that Obamacare's individual mandate is a revenue-raising measure, and the bill had effectively originated in the Senate. A federal appeals court rejected the challenge, saying the bill was about health care, not revenue. The decision by the Supreme Court justices to pass on the case marks the first time a major case against Obamacare has been turned away. Already, justices have rejected 2 challenges and upheld a third. A fourth challenge to the Affordable Care Act before the Supreme Court regarding the contraceptive mandate is expected to be heard in the coming months. The Supreme Court on Tuesday did agree to hear arguments on President Obama's proposed plan that would shield up to 5 million undocumented immigrants from deportation. The court will hear arguments in April for a possible late June ruling that could fuel an already hot-button issue during a contentious presidential election year. A federal appeals court in November ruled that the Obama administration overreached its power with an executive action that would allow some immigrant families protection that include 3-year work permits under the Deferred Action for Parents of Americans and Lawful Permanent Residents. Obama's legal team said the appeals court decision has far-reaching and irreparable humanitarian impact.
If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode.
Reuters reports Milwaukee lawmakers on Tuesday approved a $5 million settlement with dozens of men who were illegally subjected to strip and body cavity searches. The settlement, approved by the Common Council, resolved a number of federal lawsuits filed against the city since 2012 by 74 men who accused Milwaukee police of violating their civil rights, according to a letter from the city's attorney. Miriam Horowitz, a deputy city attorney, said a total of 131 officers were named in the federal lawsuits, and 4 Milwaukee police officers were charged in 2012 and later convicted of illegal searches. In December, the U.S. Justice Department granted a request by Milwaukee Police Chief Edward Flynn to conduct a voluntary review of the department's procedures and practices. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.